Post your location and your local time in the comments. He loves seeing who's tuning in at dawn coffee or midnight snack, and now he shoulders a box, steps into the heat, and the story moves. He helps his wife Luna settle into the Phoenix cabin. His grandfather built cedar dust in the door jamb, cicadas sawing like tiny chainsaws, the driveway shimmering like a mirage. He jokes that the U-Haul handles like a shopping cart with one rebellious wheel, and she laughs, says the desert will tune his steering soon enough. He's been 36, HVAC hands nicked by sheet metal. She's Luna Sleeves, pushed up forearm tattoo of Air Force wings braided with an Aztec eagle heritage, and duty woven together like copper wire and noon sun humming with quiet power. Across the street, Veronica arrives with muffins and a clipboard, the HOA welcome kit, and interrogation lamp in one hand. He thanks her, bites a blueberry, and almost bites a question mark, because every "how wonderful" lands like a parking ticket. Confetti cannon. She says, urban aesthetic. He hears code red. Luna hears it too. Smile, even voice level, the kind of calm that fits neatly into a uniform. When Veronica stares at the tattoo like it's a roadside flare, Luna tugs her sleeve, and he registers the flicker in Veronica's eyes, the one that says, "I've already drafted the email." The muffins are sweet. The questions are sweeter, and somehow both leave a paper cut. Historians still argue whether community standards began as paint chips or as quiet instruments of control. Out here, he suspects both can be true before lunch. Days blur in heat mirage. He carries boxes, she logs into a secure call, and Veronica idles in her car with binoculars, a bird watcher who specializes in the rare suburban driveway owl. He waves once. She waves back with a spreadsheet. Luna notes times, plates, angles. Military training turns her patience into an invisible tripwire. He keeps saying maybe she's just friendly the way a habanero is friendly if you apologize first, and the air tastes like someone whispered no trespassing at a potluck. Then the letter resident verification protocol, packed with phrases that sparkle like broken glass, cultural compatibility factors, insurance requirements for demographic balance. He reads it twice. It gets uglier on the rewatch. Quirky tidbit, ancient Egyptians once smeared crocodile dung sunscreen against the sun, still more useful than this paperwork and probably better smelling. Remember that for later. He finally sees the pattern, and the pattern sees him. Conversation stop when Luna walks by. The mailman studies clouds like they're overtime, and backyard coffee chats steam with dog whistles. Friday night sirens ribbon the street. He step counts the porch, 1, 2, 3, and there she is, front yard prosecutor waving a folder like a marching band baton. Officers arrive, professional neutral. Veronica launches into suspicious integration activities, which is neighbor for "I ran out of reasons, but not adjectives." She points to photos, timelines, margins wide enough to land a small drone. Luna steps forward, shoulders square, voice steady. She retrieves her wallet, returns, and offers her military ID. Badge light kisses plastic. The officer reads Staff Sergeant Luna Ramirez right and thanks her for service. Veronica's face turns to white noise. The street holds its breath. Even the cicadas miss a beat, like a drummer who just saw the set list and found justice. Somewhere a spreadsheet asks to speak to a manager. He reaches for Luna's hand, and the desert, just for a second, cools down 3 degrees. The street exhales after the ID reveal, and then the paperwork storm rolls in, citations taped to the door like fortune cookies written by a committee of thesaurus's non-native plants. They own 2 prickly pears, disruptive PT at 0600. The desert rooster complains less, and a driveway violation because her truck suggests alternative community values, which is HOA for your bumper is bold. He jokes the printer at Veronica's place must be committing toner crimes. Luna says, save the punchlines, save the receipts, and she means it literally. Screenshots, timestamps, body cam angles from their porch cam, the whole CVS-length gospel of this happened and this and this. Historians still argue whether bureaucracy is a neutral tool or a heat-seeking missile that always finds the nearest newcomer. Tonight it sure flies with guidance. Quirky tidbit while we're here: the fax machine predates the light bulb. Bureaucracy invents cardio before illumination, which explains Veronica's marathon. Then the federal shoe drops. Veronica packages her binder like a reality TV audition reel and sends it to the Air Force Office of Special Investigations. The irony could power a small grid false flag so polished they trigger a real probe. Luna reports to base twice that week, sits beneath humming fluorescents that turn everyone into grayscale, answers questions with calm that sounds like a metronome. Authorized remote work. Secure networks, yes sir. No ma'am. He waits in the parking lot with warm coffee and colder knuckles jokes that if stress were a gym, they just leveled up to leg day. And she cracks half a smile because humor is a splint you tape to the day, so it keeps walking. Remember that crocodile dung sunscreen? Even that feels more protective than the HOA's resident verification protocol now. But Luna hunts where Veronica hides. In the late blue of the kitchen toner scent in the air, she traces line items through HOA budgets: community safety research, neighborhood integrity, consulting, presentation materials. The arrows converge: $8, $500, siphoned for private eyes, glossy prints and lawyerly what-ifs. She builds a binder of her own tabs like runway lights: financials, surveillance, discriminatory language, false reports. Sam, Veronica's son, knocks, voice low, eyes tired. He brings recordings where his mother drops the euphemisms and says the quiet part at full volume. The evidence pile doesn't wobble, it flexes. Board night arrives in folding chair acoustics and lemonade diplomacy. The cookie table is Switzerland. The microphone squeaks like it has stage fright. Luna enters in dress blues. No theater, just truth with stitching, and the room straightens. Slide 1 ledger snapshots. Slide 2 invoices to a P.O. box that maps to Veronica's Sisters LLC. Slide 3 timestamps, binoculars. The word pattern planted like a flag. Dylan, the tech neighbor turned board member, goes pale. Harold, the Korean war vet, stands to salute. Even the gavel seems shy around consequences. Veronica tries to rebrand it all as protecting cohesion, but the numbers speak with subwoofer clarity. Vote taken 4-1, she's out. The referral for embezzlement sails to the proper desks, and 3 days later OSI clears Luna with a formal apology and a commendation that reads like a sunrise after too much midnight. He walks her to the truck, the night soft as a folded map. The porch light hums. The cicadas pick their rhythm back up like a band on encore. On paper, the storm ends here. Off paper, he feels static in the air, the kind that whispers there's one last page no one has turned yet. Static hangs over the cul-de-sac like a thunderhead deciding if today is the day. And the decision shows up as Sam's breathless knock. His mother bought a gun. She's circling the block, and every porch light blinks awake like nervous eyelids. He moves Luna to cover. She moves the plan forward. Call local PD ping-based security. Notify the Fed agent already on the embezzlement thread. He jokes thin as paper that if the HOA printer could spit common sense, now would be ideal. The porch camera catches him smiling anyway, because courage often borrows humor's jacket when it leaves the house. Historians still argue whether fear travels faster than facts, but tonight the sirens try to tie. Quirky tidbit to mark the moment: medieval England once paid certain rents in eels, proof that neighborhoods have always argued about what counts as standard. Veronica steps out of her car with the stiff walk of someone rehearsing a finale. Arm extended, voice, brittle eyes glassy with too many nights of consequence. Sam plants himself between her and Luna. He says mom in a way that makes the street remember birthdays and science fairs, not board votes and binders. Officers roll up Martinez in front, and a negotiator with a calm that smooths edges you didn't know were sharp. The desert hushes, even the cicadas throttle down to a respectful buzz. Words step in where force almost does, and slowly the barrel dips. The shoulders sag, the breath breaks. The gun lands on the lawn with a sigh no one admits hearing, and he, hands shaking, realizes his palms have been praying the entire time. Luna declines charges. Help, not punishment, she tells the detective, and the sentence feels like clean water in a dusty place. A 72-hour hold replaces handcuffs. Sam rides behind the ambulance, young and older at the same time. In the quiet tale of adrenaline, the neighborhood decides it prefers porches to battlements. Dylan takes the gavel and installs bylaws that spell out what used to hide in margins. Harold starts a veteran's coffee that tastes like unlearned grudges finally learned. Mrs. Henderson organizes a culture night where toddlers share cookies with names longer than their arms. Luna receives a commendation and later a promotion. His HVAC phone pings with new work from people who like who he became under pressure. Sam writes a thesis that professors underline so hard the paper embosses wisdom. Remember that crocodile dung sunscreen. Turns out real protection is less about paste and more about policy, neighbors, and the habit of showing up. And when the next family moves in, hijab stroller toolbox, hope the block waves first, not after. He stands on the porch at the hour when heat finally loosens its grip, when the sky fades from copper to lavender, and sound softens into a low hush that feels like a blanket. You forgot you own the kind that smells faintly of cedar and clean cotton. And he lets his shoulders drop the last inch because everything has been carried where it needs to go. The street is still the windows warm with evening lamps. Cicadas keeping time like a gentle metronome, and somewhere down the block a screen door sighs closed, not in alarm, just in ordinary life returning at its own unhurried pace. He thinks of the ID card catching a slice of badge light of the binder tabs shining like runway markers of a hand that chose to open instead of clench, and he understands that courage can be quiet, that mercy can be structure, that the best maps are drawn by people who know how to listen. A breeze lifts the bougainvillea, the petals shiver and the pool glass ripples once, then stills, and if you listen closely, you can hear children telling each other tomorrow's plans, a dog negotiating bedtime with one last thump of tail, the low murmur of neighbors trading recipes and names and stories that arrive without footnotes or suspicion. The porch light hums steady as a lighthouse, and the road ahead feels longer, yes, but also kinder, like it knows where it's going and isn't in a rush to prove it. He closes the gate softly, palms the latch the way you'd pat the shoulder of a friend, and he lets the night be simple, cool air, easy breath, the faint starlight stitched above them like good thread. When sleep comes, it will come evenly smoothing the day's edges, and the last thought he keeps is small and bright. This is our place, held together by the work of many hands, ready for another morning.